as the numbers are stable right now. So let's start the session. Okay, sir?
Okay. Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay, sir. So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the day 5 of Cosmic Camp. We have spent the last 4 days talking about cosmos, but tonight is really special. Tonight, we're going to learn how to actually capture it, and we're learning it from the absolute best. I have to admit, I've been really looking forward to this. A while back, I watched a virtual tour of the Hanley Observatory that DORJE sir gave himself. Seeing him show off the 2-meter telescope up there, running completely on solar power at 4,500 meters high, was just mind blowing. But what really got me was the interview I saw of the winter trip through the frozen, chilling Soul Lake. Just imagine freezing winds, completely numb fingers, standing on a moving sheet of ice in the middle of night, all just to get one perfect picture of Jupiter and the zodiacal light. It just shows you how dedicated he is. And for him, it's not just science, it's real adventure. So it is a huge honor to introduce the man behind those stories, Mr. Dorje Anchuk. Sir is legendary name in Indian astronomy as the engineer in charge at the Indian Astronomical Observatory in Hanle, Ladakh. He works at one of the highest, coldest, and of the darkest places on Earth. Through his camera, he captured the Himalayan night skies like no one else. His work connects the mountains with stars, and his photos have even been shared by NASA and the top magazines all over the world. He is a true master of night sky and a huge voice for keeping our skies dark and free from light pollution. Whether you want to learn astrophotography, you love the engineering side, or just love looking at the stars, you're going to leave here completely inspired. Sir, it is an absolutely honor to have you with us tonight. The whole community is ready, eager to learn from the experience and see those amazing visuals. Thank you so much for joining us. I won't keep everyone waiting for any longer. Whenever ready, please take it away, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much for actually inviting me here, and it's a pleasure. Though I was asked to give what I will prepare, but I could not find time, so finally I'm here, and I'll be mostly talking about the Indian Astronomical Observatory and astrophotography and the stories, some of the stories behind it. I would love to come next year. I think the ASI will be planned at IIT. So probably when I'm there, and the offline talk will be much more interesting, and it will be. I would love to see the campus and the student meet the students around, and have more interaction definitely that way. Yeah. So here I go. I'll share my screen.
Yes, sir, visible.
Yeah, yeah, visible. Yeah, thanks. Obviously, this is the image that was introduced in my introduction. So obviously, this is what I took at the real lake, Chilling Lake. That was on January 10th when the Jupiter was at its opposition. The brightest star that is visible on the right hand side is the Jupiter, and on the left hand side, just between the two tripods, you can see a beautiful thing that's called the zodiacal light. And this is the winter Milky Way arch that you see here. And we also had the top, center top, we have the Andromeda galaxy in the same image. So this image is a 360-degree by 180-degree of the complete, covering the whole sky, except the feet beneath me. So this was a very nice image, and it was covered very well everywhere. And obviously, my purpose is to connect the people with the stars, which we have already lost in all the cities and everywhere, except for a few places like Ladakh, and also connect the same with the landscape, because the landscape is also beautiful. So we are able to connect both of them. Then it like, this is what I love to do, and might be my specialty, but I'm still trying to learn. Okay, so like any movie which have a disclaimer, so I have disclaimer. So the nightscapes and Halle Dark Sky Reserve has taught me that night sky is a shared resources for all living entities, and that the sky and the land mirror each other. Song after song in Ladakh speaks of how the sun, moon, and the stars are bound up with the glacier mountains, deer, and the people. So when I go out in the darkness, I carry these songs and stories with me so that I can bring back a sky in which people can recognize something of who we were, which I will tell later on. And I'm convinced that once we became alive again to the wonder and of our skies, the night will have many stewards everywhere. So basically, I'll be telling the story from the stewardship point of view, because here you can see I joined the Indian Astronomical Observatory as a founding member in 1998, after I passed on my electronics in 19 from SVNIT Surat, NIT Surat. So this is on the top. You can see Leh, and here is the Hanle. So at that time, I used to think why the astronomers are going so far away, 270 kilometers, which you at that time used to take 9 hours, because the sky above my head was equally good, and we could have. But then, as you might all be knowing, that Leh became a tourist hub, and like, it was completely. It has changed from what it used to be during my childhood time. And later on, I realized why, which I'll be also talking in between. So right now, it takes around 5 hours of a drive to Hanle. This is the Himalayan Chandra telescope, and somehow the mouse is not working. And this is the image of the supernova that was taken from this telescope. And is the slide changing now? A world-class multi-wavelength
Yes, sir.
observatory. Yeah. So this on the lower bottom, you can see the whole mountain on which we are, which is called the Indian Astronomical Observatory. And the first picture on the left side is the GIT telescope. That's the Growth India telescope. Himalayan Chandra telescope, which I showed previously in the slide. It's 2 meter class telescope, and this is zero point 0.7 meter class telescope. And this is a robotic class telescope, and it is in collaboration with IIT Bombay. So IIT Bombay, the students, they use this telescope, and it's a robotic telescope. And the second image is the Hagar, this is the Maze telescope. It's a 21-meter class telescope, and it is installed by the Baba Atomic Research Center. And then the third image we have is the Hagar, which is installed in collaboration with Tata Institute of Fundamental Research and the Indian Institute of Astrophysics, which we are a field station here. And the third is a 50 centimeter telescope. Now, like we have developing our own telescopes and making them. Basically, in the lower bottom hill, this hill resembles a scorpio. It's called the Dikparatsari in local language, which means a scorpion mountain. So like the scorpion is also nocturnal, and the astronomers residing on the mountain is they also work in the night. So that's a very nice analogy. And now lots of instrument has been coming up, and in the red you can see 3 meter terahertz and Netra and lot. They are in the pipeline, and the black one have already been installed. And so, yeah, Ladakh is the astronomy state of India. You can easily say that now, because most of the telescope are being installed at Hanle, its capital and home to astronomy. So why did we choose Hanle and Ladakh? Because it's a high altitude. So like we are at 4,500 meters above sea level, and like you can say practically half the atmosphere, if we say, and it's a very dry climate. So what does this to mean is that when the starlight comes, it comes unattenuated. That means like when you have moisture in the air, so the moisture absorbs the starlight. So there is a definitely a difference between how you see the stars in the plane and how you see it here. So I had many friends who have come, like they were like completely dazzled with the stars, and like they were like the constellation they knew from the planes, like that's difficult to identify because there are more number of stars here. So we have a very good transparency. So good transparency means like the aerosol content in the atmosphere is nil. very very less, so there's no dust smoke pollution. So the seeing the clarity is much more. So there is a very good story that I have with me when I initially joined 28 years back. Like my neighboring aunt, she told, "You're going to holiday. We have just been there, and then when we see the monastery from the road, and like it is like never reachable." So later on in my, I realized what she meant. It was because of the transparency, and here in Ladakh, like everybody takes very good photo. That is because of the transparency. Here, your the whole frame is filled. That's what we say. Like Ladakh aana hai to camera to banta hai. So it was like that, and also the low light pollution that we had here in Ladakh. So starting with the astrophotography, this was my first image that I have ever taken. That was in 2010 when I had a just basic DSLR camera and a kit lens. So what I meant to say is that you should just get on started, and obviously what I did, like I slowly kept on adding my gears, and the lenses got better one each year, saving some of my money. And so this is the in the first image you can see this is the star trails, which shows the movement of the Earth rotation, and then you in for and as a very long exposure here you can see. Yeah, anything? Somebody was saying that. Okay. I hope I'm still there, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is only for from the trails of the stars. You can get the number of hours it has been taken. Like for example, in the center bright star, that's the pole star, and if it's total circular, that means 24 hours. But we cannot have an 24 hours uh, in our hemisphere. It can be only in north or southern hemisphere that you can have a total circular star trails. So this was around for 1.5 hours. So I did it a longer one for around 5 to 6 hours in summer, and this is my second one. And I also had a very very longish one, and this is the longest we can ever have at our latitude. So this is around 12. So here you can see the pole star, which is the moved nearly half of the circle. So that's like the star trails are for like 12, nearly 12 hours here. So we can do like Ladakh is beautiful and the landscapes are beautiful, and we can do beautiful. We can do Milky Way photography also. And here this is an another 360-degree image of the Milky Way stars, and here we can see the some glacier. It's called the Darangdung Glacier, and there are some planets also in the same image, like the brightest one in the middle is the Jupiter. Then there is the Saturn, and Mars is just rising in the middle, in the center of the image. This is the one, and this is another picture that like is a very favorite of mine, and it shows like complete 360 and all the air glows. Air glows basically, air glows are luminescence, which is like happens because of the during the daytime the atmosphere they absorbs the energy, and then in night they release, and then we get such air glows. And this was taken a few years back, and it is continues to remain one of my favorites thing. And image, and this is another image that I this is why I called it the backyard astronomy. I just do at my home in Leh, and you can see me, and here you can again see. So this is the backyard astronomy that we get. We are very fortunate in Ladakh. We can see all of this, and this is myself triggering the image. So it's basically a selfie. Okay, and then there is this comet image for which I was very lucky because I was maybe the only one, because it happened. It's Comet Neowise visited us in 2020 when it was COVID and nobody was able to go outside. But then I was very much fortunate to take this image from my village. This is the village I stay. It's called the Spituk Monastery on the right side, and the comet on the left side, top center. And then this is the time lapse I took the next day when I went to the observatory, and you can see the crescent moon setting and the comet new wise also. So I just wanted to align the same with the observatory just below the comet new wise. And suddenly I realized that it may not come directly underneath it, so we have to shift our position a little bit later on. Uh, Sorry, the speech is too slow. So here, this is a wide angle. Now this is a telephoto picture, a time lapse of the same. And it's setting behind the observatory. So this is the one of the resultant image from this one. And this is another interesting image that I had. This On the left side, you can see a monastery in the mountain, and this is like and when 2008 when I visited, it was like completely, we had to trek for around 3-4 hours. So when we went there, we got late because we had to carry a lot of equipments like camera gear here on tracked all the way. But when we reached there, it was already dark and it started snowing. And then there was a friend of mine who came along, and we told each other that if it gets clear, then we would go out. Then suddenly at 1 a.m., he called me and like it's cleared up. And then so I had to rush. And when I reached this location to take this picture, I found to my surprise, there was so much light pollution that like it's unable. It was very difficult to take to take a picture. Then at that time, I knew about technique in photography, which is called the exposure stacking. So here I just knew about it, but then I thought I will try the same. So here I've taken an image which is for 15 second exposure one, then another image which is exposing some of the things, and it was for 5 seconds, and another image which was for around 1 second. So these are the three exposures. And then after many months, when I came back, and I remember that I had this image of this monastery, Bhuktal, and I want to develop it, and then I just developed it. And actually, this is blending in Photoshop, and then this is the resulting image I got. So it was quite satisfying. And here I think astrophotography takes us to places where like we never thought we will reach, and I was very much lucky. And here in this image, you can see the Andromeda galaxy on the right, center right, and the Cassiopeia constellation just above the monastery. And so subsequently, I went again in 2022 and got this star trail image of that monastery. And here we may ensure that we switch off the lights, having learned from the lessons earlier. And so this is an time lapse. It's called the Holy Grail because you can see it's transitioning from day to night, and again to day. So this is what happens in one night at the observatory. And here you can see on the left side also there are a lot of air glows also. And that's Jupiter and Saturn just approaching the Himalayan Chandra telescope. And the Himalayan Chandra telescope also like observations are going on, and they are trying to discover the unknowns. So there on the bottom you can see another camera taking a time lapse of mine. So the second setup. So slowly it's like the dawn is coming, and you can see more satellites when it is approaching dawn because of the sunlight reflection from the satellite. Yeah. Okay. So this is called a conjunction image. Like conjunction is when you have multiple like planets or moon coming in the same frame. For in here, this is image taken of the great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, which happens in 80 years, and this one was in 2021 December. And I can the crescented moon along with the Shanti Stupa here. And these are like I also do some. I call it twice story, so I try to take some images with the toy in the foreground and the Milky Way, defocus Milky Way, which also comes very well. And that was a Jeep, and this is an Beetle, Volkswagen Beetle, and so this are really very, and this is the Milky Way just here near my home. And also, like lately, the auroras has been visiting us. That means like we are very low latitude for a aurora, but then because of the transparency, as I was already telling, that sometimes when the substorm is very big and there's too much activity of aurora, then it can be visible as seen from this image, which is like from Leh only, and it was also captured from Hanley, so which are at the similar latitude. So this is an image that here you can see on the right side on the hilltop. That's the observatory, and this is how Hanley looks in the night. Along with that, I am showing this image. Just a moment. Manoran, I will call you back later. I'm in a talk. To capture this and trying to frame this image, so I suddenly got a red light, and like I was totally at only known at the time that there is this special effect or the special phenomenon which is called the red sprites. Okay, so red sprite happens whenever there is a lightning below the clouds, so the eruption above the clouds is called the red sprites, and they happen at the similar time. And like I was like here you can see there is not even a single cloud, and because of the transparency, this the cloud and the thundering might be happening thousands of kilometers, but you can easily see the red sprite. And next year we went again in search of the red sprite, being very lucky with this one, and we thought we will be capturing it, but we were not able to capture it. But suddenly I saw it through my eyes, the red flare, which is only for a milliseconds. So it was just erupted, and I told my friend like I saw it with my, but my camera here you can see in the image below. I just saw it, and then he also saw it, and but my camera was in another direction. But my friend's camera was also capturing the same, so we were finally able to see the next year through our eyes only the red sprites. So you can just see it in the on the side of the image. So here in the observatory all sky camera, you can see in the below where the S is, there is this red sprite as a small, the same red sprite which was visually scene which we saw visually was also captured by our all sky camera on the same day in 2023. Okay, so this is another image. Like we try to do lots of meteor shower photography also. So many times we want to have a very nice foreground for the meteor shower photography. And okay, meteor shower photography. So we know that the meteor shower was coming from the Ursa Major, just above the monastery. You can see this, the Ursa Major, or Saptarishi as we called it. So here, like we knew it when we went to Rekit, we saw there was totally lighted up. So we thought like, how can we do it still and get a very interesting picture? And then like my wife was in charge because she's an electrical engineer and she's in charge of this whole electricity of that region that year. So I asked my wife whether she can switch off the lights for us. But she said no, we won't be able to do it because we are the provider of electricity. And we don't want we cannot switch off the light just for anybody's sake. So then, but she gave us clear that at 11 o'clock, the light curtainment will be there. So we stationed ourselves at 10:55, around 10:30, and took this picture. And exactly at 11 o'clock, the light went off. And so I was able to capture this beautiful image with the air glow. So you can actually see the difference. Many people think that more light is much better, but then it's only a wastage of energy that you have, because since generation we never used light, we never had electricity. It is a recent invention, and before that also, like, oil was very much less, and hence people used to rely on starlight and Milky Way light for all their activities in the evening. And also, people used to sleep. Unlike me doing astrophotography, people used to sleep when it is dark and not wake up. And so the sky is our natural laboratory. And this is another image. I have some story. So here, this is in the middle of Leh City, and so here. I just went in the middle because I knew that the Milky Way will just rise over it or can be seen. So around when I reached there around 12 o'clock, I saw, to my surprise, there was lights in all this, we call this choten or stupa. And so I had come in the middle of the night, but then I had to take some photography. But how can I do it? So here, I asked my neighbor, uh, colleague who sits in the neighbor, whether it's possible to call the caretaker and switch off the light. But he said the caretaker never hears us, so it will be very difficult. But then, if you can see in between all the chotan stupas, there is a wire going. So when I was going back, I saw that there was a wire going, and I could easily snap it off. And when I stood over my car just beneath it, I was able to snap it off, and I took this picture. And obviously, fortunately, or you can say, or because I'm an electrical engineer, we always had some plier and a tape. So once the photograph was finished, then I we put the power uh, back and restore the power here. So this is another. So if you remember in my earlier Phuktal monastery, I told you about the uh, exposure stacking. That's like multiple exposures of them. So this is another picture where I took it and did focus stacking. So focus stacking means we have different in the same three. We take three different image and we stack them, blend them in Photoshop. But we get whenever we do some, the focus has to be somewhere. So if my focus was infinity, then only the Milky Way will be coming more pinpoint or focused. But the what I wanted to hear in this picture was the foreground, which was a beautiful clay cracks and the stone there. So I wanted to capture that one and also show the Milky Way at the same time. So I took three different pictures with the same setting, without moving it. And the first picture was focused on the stone and the cracks. Second was focused on the light and my friends there. And the third was for infinity. So when I blended it, it's we called it the focus stacking. So the resultant image was this beautiful image. So this is called the focus stacking. And this image is always one day I showed my father the image of the Milky Way that I had taken, and then suddenly he was time traveling to his childhood, when he because he lost his father, that is my grandfather, when he was very young. And so he reminded me, and he told me beautiful stories about them, the sleeping in the balconies on the rooftop, scanning for meteors, and looking big-eyed as the stars multiplied in front of them. And at that time, I thought that the nightscapes, they were all like they were connecting with my people, my own grandfather whom I've never met, and all the cultures around here. So that was one important thing that I learned all this way. And here you can see in one of the roof or balconies, one of my uncles, they're he's gazing at the stars. And so when I started in 2010, so around 2013, I took this beautiful image of Leh Palace. and there was a festival in December when butter lamps used to lit. And initially at that time I was not on social media. I would never post them. But then I was in after getting this beautiful result, I was told that it's a very good picture. We should share them, and we should also let other people know that there's such a fantastic place where you can see the stars also. So I was encouraged to put my pictures in the Facebook or social media at that time. Facebook was the only social, and got very good feedbacks also for this image. And I think it became very, very popular. And probably at that time the district administration or the ASI thought that must have thought that they will make it more beautiful. So they next year, as I told initially, that I would keep on piling and buying some gears, the lenses, better cameras. So next, or after 2 years, I had a better camera and a better lens, and then I went there again with the hope that I will make it much better. And when I went there, I was totally taken by surprise, which you can see here. So they had installed floodlights all over, and like it was too much even for exposure stacking also. So like it was horrible. Now I cannot do anything uh, at this same place. Another place like this is if you have visited Ladakh, you must have heard about Khardungla, which was once the highest motorable road. And one day I went there and I took these pictures of the Milky Way. And on the bottom, you can see the city lights glowing. And on the right side is the moon setting. Okay. So after some years, I again went back. I think I thought that I will have a much better picture. When I went there, I got this result, and the city light was completely destroying the whole things. So like I was completely dejected. And so this is the result of too much of light pollution, which is unneeded and just wasted up going in the air and throwing up in them. And then like obviously the light pollution were also affecting our Hagar camera. Here you can see the time lapse and a lot of lights falling on the mirrors and saturating the cameras there, because these telescope are at the same ground level as the roads. And I'll show you again. uh, so it was obviously, even the time lapse were not coming good, and obviously all the observations were getting disturbed. So that's why we made the Harley Dark Sky Reserve. So with the Harley Dark Sky Reserve, we are also documenting local cultural, astronomical, and ecological. What I mean to say that it's like previously our previous generation or the one before that, they have been watching the night skies and enjoying. And it used to be the evening time entertainment for them. And they were like there was no TV, no iPhone, no tablets at the time. And so that is when they used to like have much they used to see the stars, and they relate themselves with the stars, and they used to see many things which was reflected of their own cultures. Like there were unique shapes that they see in the skies, the estemerism and the ways of timekeeping. Like for example, the people of Hanle, they in the star shape they will see a fireplace which they used to burn, or even the wooden frame, door frame that Ladakhi use, etc. So this was how they were reflecting. And also we got to know, like you can see in the center, right? You can see the plates. There's an interesting you can see how this grandmother, she used to keep track of the time moon set. So this will be, you can just read about it. So these are some beautiful proverbs we found, like this, which is only uh, in the villagers, left in the villages, and they are also passing one by one. So what we did, like, many years back, I asked them, the villagers, all the elderlies, the grandfather, grandmother, if they know anything connecting with the star. They said they just sent me back. They said that they don't know anything, because their son or the elder generation, they never bothered, because like it was only the, because everybody had now watch, everybody had mobiles to keep track of time, the direction, so they never bothered. But then when we had this astronomy ambassador program where the local youth, they show the stargazing to the tourists. So we give them an assignment that telling them you should go to the village and ask your grandparents or anybody about the stars. Then when the grandparents, they found that their grandchildren are interested, then they started coming up with beautiful stories that associated with the night sky. Okay, so this is what we are trying to document. So these people, nomads, they had their own particular mix of Bon and Buddhist ritual. So what do they know about the scientific knowledge? I have a story that I learned from the nomads. It's like it was there was a two-person, a person and a guy. So the person told the guy that he will sell all the stars, the lunar mansion to him. The guy said that how can anybody sell the stars to him? So the person, he started telling the guy about the shapes and the different estimatism that we have and the lunar mansion. So, and he also, the person told the guy when he goes back to his village, is there any disconnection?
No, sir, I guess there was some disturbance, but it's okay now. You can continue,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, so the person told the guy that when you go back to your village, I will send all the stars to you. So the guy went to the village and he told all his villagers that I have purchased, I have brought all the stars, and he started, and all the villagers actually they started laughing at him. But when he started telling them about the astigmatism, the shape of the stars, the lunar mansion, slowly one by one, they stopped laughing, because earlier the stars were just an randomness in the sky. But then when they knew this knowledge about the shapes and the stars, then they knew that there was some order in the stars. And so this simple story not only tells about all the astronomical knowledge but also the power of knowledge. This is how ideas can make us all richer together. So here at the Hanlira Sky, we are documenting the local constellation where the sky is inscribed with things which are important to our communities. So in doing so, we are learning many things, like maybe it's telling us the kind of people we are becoming. For example, like if you right now, like when you wherever you are sitting, whatever you are seeing, you are just seeing the if you want, if you are seeing, you are only seeing the light that you have sent and got it reflected back to us. So there's very another interesting lessons from the powerful stories and storyteller of Hanle that we are learning, that if we can weave powerful stories connecting the sky and the land, then these stories can last over a millennia and remind us to look up and far into the horizon and the cosmos. So we can all become astronomy ambassadors, like unearth story and document the same about our own traditional knowledge, which is also important. Use light whenever, so whenever we tell this having a dark sky does not mean that we cannot use light at all. You can use light whenever and wherever it is needed. For example, if you are using the light in the room, put curtains so that the light does not trespass. And if you are using a street light, put the shade properly so that it does not, you don't throw it up and waste it in the sky. So shield your lights, and also use lower wattages bulbs, and warm colored bulbs are very much important. They travel very at a less distance. So most importantly, appreciate and enjoy the night sky, teach and share with others. So the summary of this talk is act before it's not too late. Together we can conserve our natural heritage, the starry skies, with dark sky reserve. So that's one of my motto. And I'm convinced that once we are alive again to the wonder and the awe of the skies, the night will have stars everywhere. And thank you. That's all for this session.
Thank you so much, sir. That was a very interesting session. I would like to ask the participants if they have any questions, they can drop them in the chat box now.
Or you can
I'll
also
stop.
unmute yourself and ask questions. So he's there to answer.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, Prashish, you can ask.
So the lecture was very amazing, but I had a question. Sir, can you pursue astrophotography in a very densely populated area which has lots of light pollution, like a city or like a densely populated area of a city? So can because the Milky Way is not visible clearly. So can you do astrophotography in such areas?
Yeah, yeah, it can be done. There are multiple ways. Many of our friends, they are doing from the cities also. For example, as I showed you the planetary conjunction, such type of like whatever we can do very good trails. We can good have we can showcase the moon and the planets along with a beautiful monument. That can be one, and can do star trails also, which is possible, which is what I showed. So the star trails was the first one that I had actually started initially. And also like lots of people are doing deep sky. I don't do much deep sky observations or deep sky imaging, but then many people they are taking beautiful image with obviously astrophotography is a bit expensive hobby, but they have been doing from the cities and producing excellent result. Yeah, provided like the skies are clear.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Mahindra.
Hello, sir. Your talk
Yeah,
was
hi.
actually very nice,
Thank you.
and I actually wanted to ask that what is actually focus checking and how do you do it? Can
Yeah,
you
yeah. Focus stacking, as I showed in the image, like we put our camera and tripod in the our frame is same. There is no change. So it's the Milky Way. Is the it was the light and it is the cracks. Okay. So for example, like our camera frame is the same. So what we do, we change the focus of the lens so that it is basically showing the depth. So initially we focus on the cracks one, the second one on the light, first image, then we click it, second image we on the light, on the light and the that small hill and my friends, and the third image on infinity focus on the Milky Way. So when we blend them, we only use the best among them. So for example, the cracks that I used while blending from the first image, from the second image the light, and the third image was the Milky Way. And you can basically focus tracking can be used for everything. Like there are many people who do what you call flower or insect photography with focus tracking. They use multiple depths. That's how they get very good image overall. And it can be done for landscape photography also.
So we have a question from one of our students, Deep Shah. He is asking that what advice do you have for young physics students looking to contribute meaningfully to observational astronomy before they have direct access to world-class observatories like London?
What was looking to contribute meaningful? Uh, Yeah, basically, I don't know whether IIT BHU has got an observatory. May not be possible because it's being a new one. So obviously, uh, you can start with your own club, having uh, getting a smaller class telescope, an 8-inch telescope, and trying to show people or even observe like that. Or you can also see, basically, Himalayan Chandra Telescope is a national facility, and people can. So it's based on a proposal system, and anybody can give a proposal. If the proposal is very good, then obviously they can also, like with the funds to travel to Bangalore, they can do the observations also. So similarly, there are many. observatories also, like who have got data which can be processed, and there are many students who also they have discovered asteroids, etc., from all this previous data. So that can be started. And obviously now with more telescopes coming at the Hanley Observatory, obviously the physics students, astronomers, even PhD, MTech people, they will have more chances to work at the observatory. But then it's a high altitude, and you will have to do a lot of acclimatization, and but it can be done.
Answer a question from Sujal that why aren't there full star trails in northern hemisphere?
Yeah, because we don't get complete darkness. Rest of the time it's daylight.
Right.
Yeah, because like our hemisphere, like we have day and night. In daytime, you cannot see stars. I hope that answers the question. Uh,
Uh, and also Rakshandra Razi is asking that how can astrophotography become a full-time career as a BTech student?
yeah, like it's just a hobby for me to enjoy it, and uh, globally there are a lot of people, well, not even a lot of people, but there are many people who are full-time professionals. And but it's a, as I told, it's a very expensive, and like nobody buys, see, I take some images, but nobody buys your, everybody wants free images, and nobody wants like to pay money for it. So I think like better, I think is just make it a hobby and enjoy the same, and that is the best thing you can do at this time. um, and also like with the number of the equipments are getting better and better, so more people will be there, and so being becoming a full, it's like maybe a waste of time. I think you should rather concentrate on like job or etc., and just do it as a hobby. And obviously if you excel in it later on, obviously it will come back to you, and you can do it as a full-time career. So like the next question is how and when did you start? Like I was at the observatory since 1998, so I knew the sky was very good. But then obviously the camera technologies, they started changing around 2010, and we got better cameras, and which has got good sensor, and good nighttime capabilities also. And 2010, one of my friend, he came over, and in 3 days he shot some brilliant pictures. So at that time I thought like, if you can take such beautiful images in 3 days, like I'm spending 365 days there, so why not me? And so next time when he came, like he got me a camera and lens, which I purchased from him. And then yeah, rest is history. Like I kept on increasing my gears, and um, I learned a lot from YouTube tutorials, etc., from friends, and that's how I could manage to take some decent image. That's what I call.
So do we have any more questions?
I think somebody asked, it's yeah, that is M45 in the image. Yeah, split.
Yeah, he got the answer because you said it is
Yeah.
M.
Do the participants have any further questions for sir?
There are some more big answer. I will just add. Is this picture, this, all this picture? I don't take pictures outside Ladakh, because once you take astrophotography, do astrophotography in Ladakh, you are completely spoiled. You cannot like take pictures elsewhere. Maybe you can go a darker place, but I haven't tried, and I didn't got, because here it was my job, which as an engineer, and obviously like I don't earn that much that I go for a special expedition to any other place. And did you take special training for this kind of photography? As I told, like I learned from friends, I learned from YouTube tutorial. There are like brilliant people who give tutorials also. Yeah, I think that's all from the questions. If anybody has verbal question, then let me know.
think that's all.
Thank you.
So, seeing the actual journey you've been on was so inspiring, sir. When you showed us that very first image you captured back in 2010 with that DSLR and explained just how slowly you built up your gear and skills to put up that recent image of Jupiter and zodiacal light showing the
Yeah.
whole 360-degree view. It was just perfect. It actually shows the grit and the patience you had to go through to just make those world-class astrophotography images. We know how busy you are, and so we are incredibly grateful that you took the time to share your art and your story with us tonight. It's a session we won't forget anytime soon. And to everyone in the audience, thank you for tuning in and bringing such a fantastic energy to the chat today. Make sure to fill that attendance and get some rest. We'll see you tomorrow at the day 6 of Cosmic Camp. Thank you again, Dorje sir, and good night, everyone. Keep looking up.
Thank you. Thank you very much,
Thank you,
everybody.
sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Bye bye.